Let me tell you a story. Just yesterday, I had my last board exams, and it also just happened to be on my birthday, and that's why I was in a very happy, very chill kind of mood. This mood lasted until I walked to my classroom, found my seat, and the briefing, the examination briefing that the teachers do. They explain the rules, the instruction that you must follow, how you log in, and all of that stuff. What happened next was, as the teacher was giving us some briefing, one of the rules that she mentioned is gonna absolutely blow your mind. Just to give you some context, this was a computer exam, like a IT paper. So the most surprising thing until now was that finally that computer exam was actually happening inside of a computer. But that's fine, okay, like it did happen. But what she said was, inside of that computer, while you are typing your answers, you are not allowed to use the cut, copy, paste shortcuts inside of the computer. And if you use it, the application where we are giving the exam, that's gonna crash and we have to start over again. It's a computer paper, by the way. Don't you see how messed up that is? And guess what? When I heard that rule, my reaction, like imagine you're the teacher who's explaining that rule. My reaction, I literally had to cover my face because I don't know, man, these guys get triggered by anything. So I literally had to cover my face to hide the reaction. And a few minutes later, as I was just thinking about it, when the logins were going on one by one in each of our computers, I was just giggling inside of my mind, like I was just laughing. So just on this side, just a few benches away from me, there was this teacher sitting who saw that. And it wasn't even like I said it to anyone else or shared it. I was just laughing by myself very quietly, not even laughing, just giggling. And that teacher wasn't even an IT teacher, did not write a single line of code. That fat ass math teacher had the audacity to question about my behavior. It's like, bro, if you can't allow Control X, Control C inside of an IT exam, of course I'm gonna laugh at you. Of course your incompetence. According to them, my behavior was the problem and not their incompetence. You see how messed up that is? And look, I can reveal a ton of examples, but the point is, by the end of this video, I'm going to reveal exactly the things that they have done to you, the lies that they have put inside of your brain, so that at least you can break free from them and actually not end up like this hopeless individual who's constantly whining about his life. I'll leave you with practical solutions you can implement right after this video. But just before that, I have a quick disclaimer. In this video, I don't want to influence your opinion or change it. I'm just here to reveal the truth. Also, if you're here to be entertained, please do me a favor and click off right now, because this video is completely unedited and the point of this is to have a one-on-one conversation with you. Just consider me as your brother that you never had. Let's begin. Number one, and this one pisses me off the most because no one ever questions this to anyone and no one even talks about it. So what I'm talking about is that they hold your time as hostage and profit out of it. Here's how. You know, they give you these random assignments for your practice. Then you spend like 10 pages, 20 pages. I remember some other day I got a few less marks and their only solution for you to get higher marks is write it 5 times. That's the only solution. And once you write it 5 times, let's say you wasted 20 pages, 30 pages. Like I remember I had to write some math thingy which took like 40 pages or something. It was this much thick. I remember that. So what happened was, I wrote that, I wasted all of my day just copying because there is no incentive for me to use my brain. The teacher doesn't care whether I used my brain. He just cared whether I did the work. So I had no incentive to actually solve the problem. I just had the incentive to copy. So I copy the work, I hand it to him. Here's what he does. Imagine me being the teacher. I get the book. He literally does not flip a single page, does one sign, and boom, done. He literally wasted 2 days of mine for a bloody signature of his. That shit pissed me off the most. Like, I don't know about you, bro. I don't know how is that, like, bro, that's unacceptable, man. It's like, don't you realize that your time, like money, you can earn it back, you spend it, you earn it back, but you can't earn time back. Of course, in like the most direct way possible, you can't earn time back. Also, by now, I hope that you know what is done with your stuff that you submit to the college, like your homework, your assignments, your project, all of that bullshit. I hope you know what happens with it, because all of that goes to the, I don't know what it's called in English, but we call it raddi, the scrap basically. So it goes there, and I'll actually link a video which gives you more details on how much they earn. Like I actually did research based on like how much paper they collect per ton of paper, how much they earn. You can click the first link in the description. There's a reel which talks about it. Go watch that. It's gonna blow your mind. Second, 10% of the stuff you learn is useful but not implementable. I don't know if that's a word, I just created it. Second, 90%, the remaining 90% of it is useless. You know it. You know it. You're still studying it. Fine, I get it. But guess what? They know it too. And you know why they don't do anything? Because your teachers are as dumb. Like, I'm just being real, the teachers are as dumb, and here's why. The subject that I mentioned in my first story, the computer subject, in it we have HTML. Like, you know, when you accidentally open, when you're typing on YouTube, you press backspace and the whole code base opens up F12, I'm sorry. So that's HTML. They teach HTML. HTML is used to create websites. Just a quick context. I'm like, trust me when I say this, I think I know more than the guy who wrote my textbook. I'm being real, and here's why. These guys who are teaching us this HTML, CSS, they haven't written a single line of code, or they might have written it, but they don't have one website deployed on the web. These guys expect us to remember the whole question. It's like they don't expect you to solve the problem based on whatever question you get. They expect you to learn the problem. They might not say it, but they literally expect you to learn the whole HTML code, mug it up, and write it in the exam. Guess what it does? You will never be able to create a real website with it. You're learning to create websites, but you don't know how to create websites. That's actually messed up. I don't know about other fields. Like, for example, if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, fine, don't watch this video. This isn't for you. What I'm saying is, at least what I have experienced it, inside of, at least for websites, this is my personal example, for websites, what they are teaching, you can't do anything with it. You're wasting your time. So then, your question might be, if I am actually wasting my time, then why are they using it to grade me? Like, why is it a factor that is affecting my ability to get into future colleges? That's a very good question. The answer to that question is that every single place that you'll go in the future, like a college or a job that you're going to do, the people over you, your authority, expects you to follow and just follow, not question anything. So what they're doing by training you to be okay with learning bullshit is that they are what is it called? They are basically training you to be compliant. That's it. I remember that story from, I think it's from Napoleon's War, is that the other side of Napoleon, the army that Napoleon was fighting, those guys had, every person was doing their own thing. Everyone had their own opinions, and the other side, I think Austria-Hungary it was, those guys realized that our soldiers were using their own brains, and that's why we lost to Napoleon, which was a very small army. And Napoleon's army was just like following a single order. They were all compliant. That's where it comes from. Basically, they don't want each one of you to use your own brains, and instead, whenever you are under authority, you do as they say. That's it. That's the only reason. And also, I learned this one thing about education qualifications from my friend who actually owns a business and is actually making a shit ton of money, and he's like 20 or 21. What he said was, when we recruit a person inside of our company, we do look at his qualifications and all, but we don't look it for the reasons that you think. We look it because that piece of paper is a proof that this guy went to one place for 4 years, followed the orders properly, and did a semi-decent job. So all that does is, to your future recruiter, all it tells him is that if I give a job to this guy, there is a likely chance that this guy will not fuck my company up. That's it. Okay, but then how do we make education work? What is the alternative? So let's see what used to happen in the past. Let's say your son, let's say you as a man, like I assume you're a man. So as a man, you were a sculptor. Like you literally created, you carved out stone and built statues out of it. And let's say your son also wanted to be a sculptor. Perfect. You can teach your son. End of story. Let's say your son wanted to be a carpenter instead and not a sculptor. So as a dad, what I would do is I would take my son to an actual carpenter. And if that carpenter's son wants to learn how to do sculpting, I will bring his son and teach him about sculpting. So you see, so you see the obvious advantage of it. Like the guy who is actually sculpting is teaching the next generation to sculpt. So there's no bullshit over there. They will teach what will actually be relevant to the subject, because they didn't have anything like exams or all of that stuff. It was one-to-one, it was personal. But what we have right now is the industrial version of, like, we have laid down what is it called? A production line where we grade each product based on certain criterias that they don't even know about. And you know, this perfectly brings us to our next point. That is that they don't teach you skills that are actually useful in the real world. Or most of them don't. A few really good colleges do. But guess what? You're not likely to get into them, are you? So a very good example I can give is that I could not speak like this on camera a few years ago. If you ask the people who I knew, the friends that I had from 2 to 3 years ago in school, they would not, I don't think they would believe that I could speak on a camera like this. Of course, I'm not that good, but I'm decent at it. So this is one of the skills that I had to learn by myself. So my point is, if you're a guy who's just studying for exams 24/7, okay, maybe not 24/7, you are studying like you're using majority of your day for studying, and then the rest of your day is for some entertainment shit, some Netflix, some video games, I don't know what. Basically, your main work is just studying for exams. Then guess what? You are not learning the subject, you are learning how to study for the subject. Those are two different things. Yes, those are two different things, my friend. Another huge problem with education past, I'd say 12th grade or high school, whatever you want to call it, is that it's so bloated. It's like it takes forever, 3-4 years for what? And that also, it's not even quality 3-4 years. The stuff that they teach, even if it's good enough, even if it's worth learning, you can do all of that in half of the time if you're an average person, or if you're even better, you can do it in a fraction of time. And guess what? In the middle, they stuff you with projects, random events that you have to go. Look, you just have two options. One, you're a sucker and just be a compliant guy, do all the projects well, do everything well, follow all the instructions, and then you're a teacher's pet. Or if you don't want to go that route, you'll have to be the social guy, basically go into parties, go there, be the cool guy, basically. And that is also a distraction. You see, you don't have any other option apart from that. Of course, you can be a mediocre guy. Then what? Then what? You get qualified for a okay-ish job. Fine, bro. If that's okay with you, then I won't. Yeah, I won't object it, and you don't need to watch the video any further. This video is for the guys who want to live a life so good, who want to make so much money that their relatives literally think you're doing something illegal. Like, that's how much money at least I want to make. I don't know about you, but if you want to continue watching, I hope you are the same like me. So let's just say you did everything correctly. You picked the right course. It's a course that it teaches you a skill that's very high in demand, very lucrative. Let me get some examples. Digital marketing, sales, AI, anything like that, that's very high in demand. If you do all of these things, okay, if you actually enroll into such colleges where they have hands-on learning, that's really good. That's like the best of both worlds, and I respect it. But there's just one small problem with it. And this isn't a fact, this is just my opinion, so you can take it with a grain of salt. But just hear me out. Let's just say you take a course on digital marketing. Now ask yourself, how are they going to grade you? Of course, bro, with the exam. That's the problem. I have a hot take on this, but my opinion on exams is that exams are a fundamentally incorrect way of grading some kind of subject that doesn't have one correct answer. For example, if it's math, fine, keep exams, it has one correct answer, it's based on logic. But marketing is a very subjective, it is very subjective. The results you can get can vary depending on a lot of factors. So the point is, now you tell me this, how should you grade a marketer? Just answer, who is the better marketer? The guy who remembers more stuff from the marketing textbook, or the guy who gets more leads for his clients? You tell me who's the better marketer. Because guess what? These guys who get the most marks, those guys, their best skill is not the subject that they are learning. Their best skill is to write the damn exam. Because you see, toppers, they don't top in one subject, they top in all subjects. So what it says is that they are not, it doesn't necessarily say that they are good at all of those subjects as much as it says that they are good at remembering stuff and putting it down on a paper. But there's one problem with it. That skill is very desirable inside of the exams, inside of this fake world. But inside of real world, that skill is already automated. I'm not talking future advancements, like anything that's coming in future with AI or anything like that. You literally have your contacts app. It's like a very simple example, very small example. No one remembers numbers in these days. We have our contacts, we use them, and that's just one example that has happened from decades ago. Now, you literally have chatbots sitting inside of websites that have replaced customer service. Like, I think from 2 years from now, every customer service number that you call, a human is not going to respond. A robot will, with a voice that sounds like a human. So now think about all of the customer support guys who had the skill of recalling each and every single detail of the company, and they get replaced. Why? Because they can't work 24/7. They need holidays, they need to take breaks and all of that. But the AI doesn't. That one system can do hundreds, thousands of calls at one time. Of course, the guy who owns the company will choose the AI system if it works properly, of course. What I'm trying to tell you is, bro, use this. This has been your critical thinking skills has been, it's almost dead. It's almost dead. You need to reclaim it back. Your creativity is almost dead. Like, for me to think about the stuff that I say in this video, the kind of points that I have to make, the way I have to say it, it's all creativity. This is what makes money nowadays. Use this, bro. Like, don't let this die. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Oh, okay, I think I got a bit too hyper. Need to have a glass of water. Hold on. Hey, don't you click off right now, okay? Yeah, you brain rotted teenager with goldfish level of attention span. Just wait. Also, when I say that my videos are unedited, what I mean is I click pause because I can't remember the whole thing. So it's not like it's fully unedited. It's just that I don't have any visual elements to hook you in. You need to pay attention. So let's continue. So even if you manage to do everything and finish the degree, get the degree, guess what? The degree doesn't guarantee the job because you don't have the skills for it. The skills that are useful, you don't have them because you spent all of the time in the degree. And don't believe me, just go look at IIM, IIT statistics if you're from India, or if you're not from India, just go look at placement statistics of colleges, well-known colleges. You'll see that an increasing number of people who are graduating from those colleges end up unemployed. It's anywhere from 20, 30 or 40, maybe 40%. I don't know, bro, but just go and look at it. I'm not telling you exactly. You can go look at it right now. Or let's just say, even if you do get a job, if you end up in the 60%, 60, 70% majority and you do end up getting a job, guess what? Enjoy the 9 to 9 lifestyle. Enjoy the overtime hours without the overtime pay. Enjoy, bro. You know why that will happen with you? Because your employer will treat you like a robot. Why? That's not right. Why? How is that fair? Bro, it's common sense. Literally for 12 years, probably 12, 15, whatever number of years you're going to study, you studied like a fucking robot. That's what he's treating you like. Is it his fault now? Because that guy, he used this time and he risked it into something that he believed instead of also studying like a robot. So that's why he's living a lavish lifestyle. I'm just assuming your future boss, okay, in this situation. So don't get confused over here. Also, one more thing, I haven't mentioned anything about AI and its disruption in the workforce. Like, I have not said anything. Like, I don't want you to be more traumatized than what I've made you right now. So let's just say that AI, like, I am in this space. I know how AI is going to shape things. And trust me when I say this, it's going to disrupt. It's going to disrupt badly. And you need to be ready for it. All of the repetitive skills that you're being taught right now, it's all going to be wasted. I'm not saying that all of your degrees are going to be wasted. I'm saying if you can't use your brain creatively, if you can't solve problems, you will be replaced. Okay, so the traumatization session ends right here. Now let's talk about how you can fix it. But to make this really effective, I want you to get up right now, go get a notebook. Fuck, I'm not gonna sponsor, give free shout out to my school here. So get a notebook like this and start writing each step, like actually do each step that I'm about to tell you and only move to the next step. Once you're done with the first step, you move to the next. That's what I'm gonna talk about right now. Okay, so here's exactly what I want you to do right now. Before you apply into any kind of course or any kind of program, whatever degree, I don't care. Before you apply into anything, I want you to have a surface level understanding of what the thing actually is, why it matters, and what other subtopics that are included inside of that thing. For example, if you are wanting to do CA, which is a chartered accountant, inside of that it's basically accountant, right? So inside of it, firstly, what is it actually about? You need to know, okay, we know what accounting is if you have pick commerce. What all is inside of it? There is taxation, there is what is it, final accounts, you do profit and loss and all of that bullshit. So that's what is inside of it. Why does it matter? It matters because companies want to keep track of their expenses. They need to know how much profit they make. So yes, if all three checks, fine, you can move to the next step. The point is, I want you to do this with whatever thing you're picking. If it's marketing, then understand what it is. What will you have to do inside of marketing? You'll have to learn SEO. You'll probably have to learn how to do ads, all of that shit. Figure out what the subject is and what's inside of it and why it matters. This is your first step. Only once you're done with the first step, you move on to the next step. Okay, so step number 2 is about figuring out whether the thing you're applying, it is compatible with you or not. To do this, you need to think about the kind of qualities a person who, like, let's just say you want to do CA. Think about a person who excels at CA, who is like excellent. He gets perfect marks. He also does the work perfectly. He's very reputed, basically. Now, think about what qualities he's going to have. Okay, if it's a CA, he must be very fast at calculations. He must have a very logical, analytical mind. He's a problem solver. He doesn't get overwhelmed by numbers. Like, he can deal with a lot of numbers, quick calculations, can find stuff, he can match stuff very easily. These are the qualities of CA. Okay, when I talk about qualities, those are things which are just inside of you. You can't develop a quality. You can develop a skill, but not a quality. The reason why we are doing this is because we need to figure out what you have which gives you an unfair advantage. And this is so important. I'm telling you why. Bro, this is like gold sauce that I'm giving you. Okay, the reason why this is important is because if you have a particular kind of quality that makes it so much easier for you to do that thing compared to the average person, you're gonna fucking crush it. I'm sorry. Like, if you have applied to, if you're doing a skill which you don't have a quality, I'm just sorry for you. Because the guy who naturally, like, let's just take a very nice example. The guy who gets girls naturally, he doesn't have to sit and learn he doesn't have to sit and learn the pickup lines and how to practice eye contact and all of that bullshit. The guys who get girls, they just know it. Okay, they just have this unfair advantage. Am I saying am I saying that you can't be better than them? Of course you can. It's just that it's going to be much harder. You'll have to do much more upfront work. It's a uphill battle. It's an unfair advantage to that guy. So my point is, figure out your unfair advantage. Because if you won't do this, what's going to happen is that, let's just say you're an average person, you have like average kind of qualities, not necessarily helpful to the thing that you're doing. And then you find another person who has those qualities. That guy will work like it's play for him. And the person who works but doesn't feel that it's work to him, like if that guy is gifted with that ability, it's not gonna feel like work to him. He's just gonna work at autopilot. It's like a game for him, but for you it's work. If he gets a task which takes 10 hours, he'll do it happily. He'll do it in 5 hours. He'll do it with excellent precision, excellent quality. But to you, it's gonna feel like a burden. That's the secret. That's the secret of having work that's actually fulfilling. Because you have heard uncles speak about, oh, why are you working so much, bro? Why are you working so much? It's not good for you. Work is good for you when you have an unfair advantage. It's good for you when the work feels like a game. So do the second step. I expect you to do each step one at a time and only move to the next step after that. So now moving on to the third step. The third step is about understanding who you are. To do this, you literally have to spend time with yourself alone, ideally in a open place where you can see the whole sky. Probably you see the night sky even better, or go to the beach if you live in a city like Mumbai. The reason why we are doing this is because when you go there, you need to allow your mind to let the thoughts come in, the thoughts that were buried inside of you. Let's just say you are a kind of person who was pressurized into enrolling into some course that you didn't want to do, or you didn't have an option to say no to. If you are a person like that, it's really likely that you have got a lot of thoughts which you could never make it a reality, and therefore those thoughts got buried by external pressure and you forgot about them. Like, if I just ask you a very specific question that's personally tailored to you, you won't be able to answer it. Or if I just ask you a random situation, a weird thing that you did as a child, you won't be able to instantly answer it. But when you're going about your life, you suddenly get a thought from, I don't know, 14 years ago or something. It doesn't happen on demand. It happens automatically. So the idea is, when you spend time alone without devices, you get bored. When you get bored, your mind basically channels through all of the thoughts that were buried deep inside of you, and those thoughts are who you are. Those are your truths. Like, you need to understand what motivates you, what is your reason to wake up in the morning, what your true desires are in life, where you want to see yourself in a few years, which you couldn't express to anyone, probably because the answer was not they didn't want to hear that answer. Those thoughts are buried inside of you. You need to get them out. The reason being, I did that too, and I'll share you my experience. I'm a type of person, let's just say there's a plant outside, okay? There's a window to this side. There's a plant outside this window. Let's just say you made me responsible to water this plant every day at 8 a.m. I'm a kind of person who won't do that, who won't water the plant at 8 a.m. every morning. Instead, I'm a kind of person who will spend 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours sitting one full day and install a water dispenser that checks the angle of the sun to optimize the time, the perfect time to put water, and put like an X amount of water which is directly connected to the water supply. And I'll spend 10 hours, 15 hours in one day, but I won't water the plant every day. I'm a kind of person like this. Is it weird? Of course it is, but this is who I am. And because I knew this is the kind of person I am, I realized that AI, automation, all of these technologies that let you build systems, these things buy people their time. And I am the kind of person who loves this because I believe in creating a thing once which does the work every time for me, for the rest of my life. So because I knew who I am, I could pinpoint that this thing, I was born for this. I was born for this. So you need to do that step too. You need to understand who you truly are. So actually take some time and do that. Like preferably go to, if you can't go to a beach or something, not an open area like a mountain, beach, whatever, just go to your terrace, bro. Just look at the sky, look at the horizon, because what it does is it allows your mind to zoom out. Because when you're constricted inside of these four walls, you just can't think long enough. When you're at home, like if you're watching this video, you might be thinking, okay, what am I gonna do next year? What's for food? Like, okay, what time will I sleep today? What time will I take bath or something? Whatever it is, right? You're just thinking a small task inside of your day-to-day life. You're not thinking far ahead. But when you allow, like when you go to places where you can see vast distances, where you can see kilometers, that's when your mind opens up and it zooms out. Your perspective zooms out. I have a phrase for this. I call this using the universe as your search engine. I'll repeat it. Using the universe like your search engine. Hope it helps. Now that you know who you are truly, you can move on to the next step where we figure out your passion and your purpose. You see, the two things are different. Don't confuse the two. The difference between passion and purpose is that passion is about what you like to do or love to do, whereas purpose is about what you were born to do. Passion, just like I said, it's about what you like to do, but purpose has more to do with what all can you sacrifice to do that thing. A very good example I can give you is that I can play a bit of piano, and I like to play. When I play it properly, of course, only then I like to play. But I do like to play piano, and I also like to play cricket. I, in fact, used to play with season ball when I was younger. I almost went pro. So, but there was one problem. Those two are my passion and not my purpose, because both of those two things, I personally couldn't sacrifice other things for it. It wasn't at the top. It wasn't something I felt I was born to do. I love to do it, bro. Ask my parents how obsessed I was with cricket back in like 2019 or something. I was obsessed with cricket, but the thing is, I couldn't sacrifice other things for it. It wasn't so important for me that actually I saw a person being injured, and I'm just being real, but I used to be scared of the season ball only in matches, because in matches they used to bowl very fast and all that, and I was very young, so I was scared of the hard hitting season ball. So I couldn't sacrifice my fear for being hit by the ball, because I got hit on my eye, and I also saw another person's nose being bleeding. So I don't know what the fuck is bleeding. So my point is, I couldn't sacrifice my fear, and that's why cricket is not my purpose. Similarly, with piano, I played like decent, not very good, but I can't sacrifice my energy into learning it properly. Like I literally watch YouTube videos, bro. I can't sacrifice any more time. But for AI, for automation and all of that bullshit, all of those systems, like weird systems, nerdy shit, I can sacrifice everything. The reason being is because I know it matters in the world, and I know what I'm doing. I fully believe in it. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what brings us to the next step, which is you must figure out whether the thing that you're doing, whether the world needs it or not. The more the world needs it, the more you're gonna get paid. This is the part where we get paid. So this is the important part. So one thing you can do till now is that have multiple options. Like, for me, I had piano, I had cricket, I had AI, I had YouTube, I had a lot of shit, digital marketing, this, that. I had all these options. After each question, I nailed it down until I ended up with one. These questions are just a filter, bro. You need to have enough options in the first place so that you can filter all of them. If you don't have options, come on, bro, get a life. Okay, just get a life, bro, honestly. So if you have sat down and note each of the questions that I mentioned in this video, gave it good amount of thought, and wrote good answers, like well thought answers to it, then congratulations, bro, for once you have taken action, and I'm happy for you. Like, trust me, bro, you're already ahead of majority of people if you have done this diligently. So if you watched this video so far into the end, it's like 30-40 minutes or something. If you watched it till here, there's a high chance that you relate to content like this a lot. So if you could do me a favor and leave a like so that it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to the channel, because I keep making unedited, like of course with pauses, like I don't count it, right? So I keep making unedited raw style of content, which wherein I give my honest opinion, like a just unfiltered stuff, bro. If you relate to that, bro, please subscribe. And if you found this helpful, I'll see you in some other video. I've actually written down a few video ideas in the comment section, so you can check them out. If you like one of those, comment them back. If you have some other idea of videos that I can make, leave that comment too. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. But before that, remember this one thing, because I live by it: accept what you can't change, change what you can't accept. Bye.